everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Shireen from S-Line and Beauty. So today I'm going to be doing an ombre set, and it's actually the first time I'm doing an ombre set, and it's actually the first time I'm recording a YouTube video. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so we're going to start off by removing the gel polish. Whilst I'm removing the gel polish, I'm going to try to take down the acrylic as low as possible so I can have a thin layer of ombre, and I possibly might encapsulate it. We'll see how it goes. As you can see, I'm using a carbine bit, a coarse one, and if you notice at the end of it, it's actually rounded rather than sharp edges, so it's a safety bit. If you're not quite confident in using one, I would really recommend trying to buy a safety carbine bit. Personally, I find it easier using an e-file, but you can use a file. But if you notice, I know this video is speeded up, but it is really quick using an e-file. Just, if you're not that confident, take it slow, one step at a time, guys. Well, now that that's finished with, I've changed over my bit. What we're going to do here, as you can see, is we're going to remove the shine from the natural nail. At this stage, if you are using an e-file, use a very low level so you can't hurt the client, and you'll find that if you push down too hard that the actual bit will stop. So use the e-file at a low level, go around the cuticles very slowly, make sure you do this part correctly and take your time doing this, just because a lot of people get lifting. That's because they leave the shine on the natural nail. What I always do as well is I pull the cuticle back a bit so I can really get into those little nooks and crannies and get all of that shine off the nails. So 2 tips. 1, if you are comfortable in using an e-file, always use a low speed in this process. And 2, if you're not comfortable in using an e-file, you can always use an actual file. Okay, now that we've completed our prep work, we're going to file the nail. A very good tip is keeping your file very straight. By keeping the file straight, keeps the nail side walls nice and straight. If you're going to be doing a coffin shape, bring your file slightly in, but again, keep it straight. I'm going to apologise in advance, guys, because clearly, as you can see, I haven't caught it all in camera. This is my first video. This is the teething stages, but I promise, the videos will get better. So now that I've finished all the prepping, I've finished the filing, I'm going to now apply the colour acrylic. So I start off with my white acrylic, and as you can see, I'm going to bring it all the way down, but making sure when I first apply it to make sure you blend that area in, because when I apply the coloured acrylic with the pink acrylic, it's going to be blended nicely over rather than seeing just white and just pink. It'd be a nice 2 blends between the two. So guys, just for the record, I would normally do both hands. For example, so I'll do the white acrylic on one hand, then do it in the other hand, then do the pink on one hand, then do it on the other hand. I wouldn't do pink and white on one hand and then violet and then do it on the other hand. The reason why I did that initially is because being my first time doing the ombre, I didn't know if I should have the white more or the pink more, even though I see pictures, and I know it's personal preference and it depends on what you want, but I guess I was testing both of them out. So on one hand, what I did was I bought the pink slightly more up, and the other hand I didn't as much, but to be honest, it didn't make much of a difference on both sides, so it worked out pretty well. Once I completed the acrylic on both sides, I started to do the e-filing. If you also notice, I didn't actually encapsulate the nail. I think it's because I used the white and the pink quite thickly to make it an actual nail. So I made an apex, etc. Also, I noticed that I wanted to see what it was like to file away any imperfections and see if that blend was still there, and I found that it was. So I didn't encapsulate it basically. So now I'm going to start doing the filing process. As I spoke to you earlier about the coarse bit, so as you can see, this one, it's flat at the end, so it doesn't have a safety bit. Because I'm not using such a high speed, and I'm quite confident in using an e-file on this part, and this coarse bit is actually not as strong as the other one, so it's not as coarse, so that's why I was using this one now. So as you know, this is the first time I'm doing an ombre set. The acrylic that I had beforehand, I think I would have went much more thinner than I actually did. I don't think I went thin enough, so that's why the nail was quite thick with the previous acrylic layer, because it wasn't that thin, and obviously with the white and the pink it ended up making quite a strong nail, so the apex was there, everything was there. That's why I didn't encapsulate also. So I'm using my carbine bit. What I'm doing as well, I do go underneath the nail just to like clean the sides, because I find that if you do that with the e-file, when you're actually filing, you don't actually have to file that much either, because the e-file's done that for you. So if you want to save some time, that could be a tip for you. I also like to thinning down the tip from the bottom to make the nail look much more thinner and give it more of a C curve by using my e-file, because you can't do that with a hand file. So I get my e-file, I put it at the tip at the bottom, and yeah, basically, and I can make a C curve with that. So that's one thing. So if you've got flat tips, you can actually manipulate the nail and make it look like a C at the end. Also, by filing from the bottom, again, you can manipulate the nail and bring it upwards. So sometimes, for example, this client in particular, where I'm looking at now, her nail goes downwards, so I file from the bottom to the top to make sure it's a straight flat nail rather than a nail that's curving over. Okay, so to finish the process, what I will do, I'll reshape the nails at the end. I find by doing this, it leaves a really nice shape with the nails. I like to keep the edges quite sharp, because I find that in a day's time, by the time we use our hands, they'll dullen down the actual corners, and eventually if that happens over time, you end up changing the shape of the nail because the ends are quite dull. But if you leave them nice and sharp, it gives them that bit more longer with the nails. So that's why I like to keep it nice and sharp at the ends. Go file over it, rough little thing, not too much, because obviously you've been doing quite a lot already. It's just to define the nail now. So once I've done the filing process, I'm going to use my buffer and buffer the nail. So this helps any scratches from the e-file that were made on top of the nail. It will make the nail look much more smoother. So when we apply the gel top coat, it'll be a nice smooth, no scratches on that nail, and it will look perfect. I would suggest sometimes taking your time out and do not miss this step. I find that if you do miss this step, by having those scratches, you can see that on the nail, but once it's buffered and it's nicely done, it really enhances that nail. So here I noticed there's a bit of imperfection. So again, by doing the buffing, you can see any imperfections. So I just got my file, I went over it very, very roughly just to correct that little area. Okay, so once I complete the buffing stage, I like to turn the client's nail, well, her hand around, and I like to look at the nails the way the client would see the nails. So what I like to do at this moment in time is pop the hand like that. So her elbow is on the actual table and it's relaxed. Twist her hand upwards and look at the nails itself. And I like to file the top of the nails to make sure they're nice and sharp and straight. By turning the hand around and looking at the way the client sees her nails, it makes sure that the nails are much more straighter, and if there's any imperfections at that moment in time, you'll be able to see and you'll be able to go back to. So again, like I spoke about before, if you thin the nail down for exactly what I'm doing here, it makes the nail look much more thinner. So I'm just finishing the process, thinning down those nails to make it look nice, thin and crisp. So to finish off, I'm just going to get a non-wipe top coat. Apply that on top of the nails. One coat is more than enough. It's just a normal top coat. I cure that for about 90 seconds, depending on your top coat, how long you're going to cure that for. So follow the instructions of the manufacturer. As you can see, I added a little 3D design. I was just playing around, see if it would look good, etc. And I think that's the beauty of nails. You know, you can do so much, you can do so many different designs. You could have added an ombre nail in there, you could have done a different shape nail, and it's just be creative and just have fun with nails. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Even if it helped one person, it was worth all the effort that I put into it. I hope the tips and hints helped you. If you've got any for me, add them in the comments box. If you liked my video, do give me a thumbs up so I know. I've got to say, doing the video today, it did take me out my comfort zone, and I'm so glad that I did do it. It's made me so much more confident. So if you guys are looking to do something similar, I would so suggest to do it, even if it's not to put on YouTube, but just to look back on your own work to see where you would do things differently. I would really suggest recording one of your nail sets. But if you guys would like me to do any more, please do let me know. If you guys want me to do any designs or go over shaping or how to apply tips, anything you would like to know, do send me an email or write in the comments. But again, thank you so much for the support. Love you all and see you on the next video.